Whoops. So much for abrupt endings. Routing fail. Anyway, all right. Let's see. How's everybody doing? Let's see. I don't have any drones to run under this today. So let me see. What are we looking at? All right. We see this. We see this. We see this. We see that. Okay. Cool. And let's see. We are in fact streaming. The audio is in fact going out. And the chat is up. All right, cool. So, hey, everybody. How's it going? Let's see. Very quick roll call. Let's see. Steve. I see Steve. I see Craig. Happy birthday, Craig. Way to go, man. Someone said 35. You look much worse than 35. Congratulations. Let's see. Dr. Cynthia. I see Marilyn. Will D. Let's see. Audrey's here. Dr. Cynthia. Ranjit. Steve, the other Steve. Let's see. Hey, Animotion. Let's I see Andy. Quattro Bagina, Recon. Do a quick roll call here. Let's see. Who else? Hey, Attorney in. How's your move compared to push 3? I'm going to get to that. Let's see. I say let's see a lot. Country Fair. I see Davey. Casual Noises. Viral Beats. Aj MGD. Are you new? Welcome if you are. And I think that's it. Okay. So I'm trying to watch the chat. Please tag me if you can, or put put like a couple capital Q's at the beginning if you have questions. So what we're doing today is we are going to, let me flip over. I'm going to talk about this Ableton Move thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to make some Berlin School on it as a sketch pad. And then we're going to take it into Ableton and apply hardware synths to it and turn it into something more. Okay. That's the exercise anyway. And I just want to talk as we go. And I made some notes, some key things to say about next level cheat codes that will become real game changers with my masterclass about groove boxing and take you to the next level. That's what this video is going to do. Or whatever the hell that means. Anyway. So this is an Ableton Move. This is just a live stream about my gear, etc. Stuff, toys I've been playing with. I did a video about this, like not a live stream, but a video, basically saying this is a really awesome sketch pad, and I really like it because I sit on the couch with my wife, and she watches bad TV, and I am present because being present is important to her, and that's fine. But I can put on headphones, and I either watch streams of you guys, or lately I've been watching fewer streams and trying to make some music on this thing. I have a push, but it's not very lap friendly because I don't have much lap, but this does. So, hey, Uncle Chrome and Lemon Delight. All right. So let me look and see what you see. All right. If you're looking at that, so this silly little box is less than half the depth of the push. So the move is little. I don't have much lap. This fits in my lap very effectively. All right. And it sounds pretty good, and it's got 4 tracks, and I think that's enough to make some stuff. Okay. So what you were hearing as the stream was rolling in was this. Okay. And without deafening you, hopefully everything is set up right. I can start some of these up. All right. And so if you've ever used Ableton works in scenes of clips. This is scenes of clips. There's 4 tracks. This is not a demo. It's not like I'm going to explain. But needless to say, you can load up 4 synths or 4 drum machines, whatever. You got 4 tracks to work with, drum machines and synths. And you can load little clips in these things. And you could treat it like you play. So you can play. And this is chromatic mode, which I prefer, but you can put it in note mode. So it's like 1 octave per row. So you can do that. And you could play your stuff in, or you could treat it like a step sequencer. And each track is at maximum 16 bar step sequence in each of the little clips. Right, so there is plenty of space for making this thing. All right. Craig, you're so silly. That bass, how is that designed? The one that you were hearing? Let's do this. All right. That's, so the bass is, so the way this works is it uses some of the synthesizers from out of Ableton Live, okay? The ones that don't require a lot of CPU. And it's got a big library of sounds in it. You can load up sounds. I will say this, it took me 4 hours of sitting there with the manual, basically actually doing the mechanics of reading the manual and read, this is how you do X, and then going here and doing X. And then this is how you do Y, and going here and do a Y. And it wasn't boring, and it was clear. So some manuals for gear are like the Rosetta, not the Rosetta Stone, because that's helpful. The opposite of the Rosetta Stone. They're like that box from, what is it? The puzzle box that summons the Cenobites. Hellraiser. Yeah. So some gear manuals are like the Lament configuration, where you read them and the demons arrive and torture you till you enjoy it. I'm looking at you, Electron Gear. And this is not that. So really, it took me 4 hours to get through the whole manual, and it was fine, and it's consistent and clear. Once you understand the metaphors they're using, all of these buttons are touch sensitive, so when you touch them, it tells you in the little display what it is for. All right. Do I have that coming up? No, I do not. Do I have it coming up? I think I do. There's a screen there, but it's not pointed at the right thing. Oh, well. I was trying to zoom in on it, but hey, that's life. Yeah, no. Well, hold on. Let's see if we can do this. There it is. Oh, you know what it is? I moved the thing. I moved it out of the camera view. There we go. Ha ha! Now you can actually see, sort of. My cameras are crap. There we go. So as you touch the knobs, it tells you what the knobs do. So like filter, things like that. All right. And so these are the interface to whatever is currently in focus. And right now it is the bass synth. And if you turn the jog wheel, so the jog wheel is touch sensitive. When I touch it, it lights up to tell me what I'm doing. And now these knobs are going to impact the chorus effect. And now they'll impact the reverb. It's really a slick system and it works really well. All right. All right, that's working. Remind me not to move the move. Okay. Is it going to be one of those streams today? Yeah, as you touch the knobs, the gear gets excited. I'm trying not to go there. I'm trying not to curse in my streams anymore. So call me on it if it happens. Hey, Homegrown. Peter Tatchell's Irrelevant Coffee Table. I have seen you before, but I don't know if I've seen you in my stream or if I saw you in like a source stream or something, but welcome. So if I've missed anyone else, I'm sorry. Hey, Tracker Jack. Soup. Hey, Soup. You didn't think you like capacitive knobs? I like the capacitive knobs on this. They're good. They're working well. Anyway, so essentially it's a box with 4 tracks and synths. That's what I'm using it for, as a sketchpad. And you can, you set up your clips and then you can arrange them. You fire them off. It's basically Ableton. It's very, very Ableton. Okay. Ableton Note, effectively. Right, so that's all 4 of these running. Right, if I only want to play one of them, what's this one? Right, and I can look at the synth by clicking on its track. And if you hold down the track knob, so even the volume knob is capacitive, and so it's volume. But if you hold down the track button, it's the track volume, which is nice. And if you actually hold down one of the buttons that represents the clip, it becomes the overall velocity of all the notes in the clip. They've maintained this metaphor, and it's really well done. It's super easy to program this thing. And as far as like moving recordings around between moving patterns around is trivially easy. It's awesome. And for doing Berlin School, where you want a pattern and you want to duplicate the pattern, and then you want to play with the length, it's like really, really sweet. Super, super easy. So let me kill this project and we'll go to nothing. Okay. Not kill the project, but let's load a blank project. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make some Berlin School here. Okay. And then I'm going to save it. I'm going to transfer it over to the push, and then we're going to apply hardware to it. So it'll be sounding good enough for writing. So you can write a piece of music while you're on the couch, like I am, with my wife. And then later, when you go back to the studio, when your spouse releases you, you may go. You may go now. You have paid your allotted time of spending time with me, and now you may go. That's basically how it happens in my house. And then you transfer it really trivially over to Ableton and the push, and then you start going. So it's cool. Synchrotron asks, there is one of those thumb things. I hit it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to let that go by. Let's go to nothing. All right, fine. So let's do this. So the way you load instruments is you pick a track. It'll have an instrument in there. When you have a blank project, it randomly assigns instruments, and then you can go change them. Now, you can edit the sounds on here, but there are limitations because you've only got 8 parameters on any given synthesizer that you can tweak. And the synths they have in here have dozens and dozens of parameters. And the way it works is you can go into Ableton and use a template to design a sound and then export it from Ableton into the Move. It's like super easy. I've been fiddling around with it. So you can make presets on here and save them or tweak things, but you can also make them in Live or get your friend's stuff from Live and move them into the Move with just a few limitations. Basically, you have to pick 8 parameters that you want to be able to tweak in performance mode on the Move. But I don't know. I'm fine with that. Right? I'm more of a preset tweaker. I want to get the basic sound down, which you can do in Live, and then put it in here and then do little tweaks. So thumbs up. Thank you, Andy. That's what you meant. Hit the thumb thing. Got it. Any way to flip your main video so it isn't upside down, asks Craig. Sure. Hang on a second. Ding. Good point, Craig. How's that? Is that better? Okay, that's better. Fine. Now I'm at the video, the little side inserts are in the wrong spot, but I'm not going to screw around with that for now. Anyway, so I've loaded some sounds. All right, so we're doing Berlin School, right? So I want a couple plucks, I want a bass, and a pad, right? I'm not gonna worry about leads right now. Okay, much better, thanks. Thanks, guys. Yeah, you gotta call that stuff out because I've been looking at it for so long. Anyway, it's all good. So let's do this. Let's make sure all of our patterns are clear. There's nothing in them. All right, and what do we start with? Start with this block. All right, we'll turn our metronome on. All right. And let's record a little thing. All right, so my timing's off. Tell it quantize, please. It's awesome. I'm super loving this. So the little lights on the bottom are the 16 steps. And when it's white, there's a note playing there. And when it's not, you know, it's space. And if you want to tweak a note, you hold down that thing. Hold down, you know, whatever it is, and you can change the note around or add notes and things like that. Again, I'm not demoing this or teaching how to use it. Let's make some Berlin School. So now we need the other pluck. Oh, well, let's do this. I've got a pattern. We'll do it classic. I'm going to copy that pattern. There's a button for copying. So I'm going to copy this pattern over to this instrument. All right. So if I stop that pattern and we'll play it on this instrument. That sounds like ass. I'm not going to copy it there. I'm going to copy it that instrument. Yeah. There we go. You can turn the metronome off. So I've got it on this instrument, the orange instrument, and I've got it on the purple instrument. Okay, we'll let those play together. So is the Move as rudimentary effects like delay and reverb? Yeah, actually the effects, there are lots and lots of effects in here. I would say more than I would require. So delay, reverb, all the modulation effects like chorus, phaser, flanger. It's got a bunch of different distortions, compression, gain stuff, grungers, bit crush, all that's baked in. And they're the exact same effects from Ableton. So if you know the Ableton stock effects, these work exactly the same way. So I don't know, Uncle Chrome, if the Utah lead is from there or not, but oh, hey, Lamar. All right, so we've got these patterns playing. So two, Berlin School delay reverby patterns, and I want to tweak one of them. I want to make it shorter. I want to phase it. Okay, so I will select, I'm going to do it to this orange instrument. There's a button for loop mode. You put it in loop mode and it tells you up here, this is 2 bars. Have I moved it? Is it still in the camera? Yeah, it's still there. Okay. Let's tweak it a little bit. 2 bars. There we go. And it shows you that there's 2 bars going below, and you can see the progress as it's moving along. Well, what I want to do is I want to tweak its length. So I can just grab it, grab the control knob here, and say, let's make it now the orange pattern is 1.5 bars long, and then it loops, whereas the first one was 2 bars long and it loops. So now if I start these at the same time, they're in sync, but one starts earlier, and now they're phasing. Right? This is a very basic fundamental technique for Berlin School. You take 2 identical patterns, you change one of them's length, and you get interesting variation that's still sinus, in that it comes around and eventually resolves, and they go back into sync, and then they go out of sync, and then they come back in sync, and it's really pleasing to our ears. There we go. All right, so now that we've done that, I'm going to turn the metronome back on for a second. And I should be able to play some bass. Cool things about the Ableton in general is that it's always listening to everything you play. So I didn't hit record for that, but it's got a capture feature where if I hit this capture button, it should grab what I was playing, try and do something smart with it, and make a loop out of it. So let's see if it will. It's not perfect, but let's see what it does. It did a pretty good job, and it shows in the screen it captured 8 bars of that, right? So I could pick some subset, I could slice the bars up really easily, move things around, but that'll work. So let's play some chords on it. I think I could turn the metronome off. So, not bad. I think I've got some... adjust the volume on there. Does the push do capture as well? Yes, it does. Push 3 has a dedicated button for it, and I can't remember if push 2 had a dedicated button, but within Ableton there's a capture button, and you could map it to any external controller or just click it inside Ableton. So I've got some weird things going on with that pad. The pad's, let's see. Yeah, there's like a modulation in the pad that's pushing the volume up periodically, which I don't want, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. So we've got that, right? We've got one scene. Okay, so one vertical scene here. Make sure everything's still lined up okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's a scene, right? So if I want to do another one, I could copy some of those patterns over and do something else on it, or I could make some new ones. So let's make a couple new ones. So let's record another one. Let's try it blind. Let's try this. I'm just going to play. I'm not going to record. All right. I captured that pretty good. But I don't want the other ones to play. I want to hear it by itself. So I'll select blank patterns and they'll shut up and just this one will play. So we'll do the same technique again. I'm going to copy this over to the other pad. All right. And I'm going to take this first pad, the purple pattern, stop this one. And I am going to double its length, which is here. All right, so the loop has been doubled. This little tiny OLED screen does a really good job of feedback. Like I'm trying not to swear. I am fargan blind. So Task Boy and I were joking about alternative profanity words that aren't profanity. So Johnny Dangerously, another movie from the 80s, since we're doing an 80s movie reference per episode, has a great character who doesn't curse, because I think it was a PG-13 movie, so they're trying to keep it PG-13. So he refers to cork-sucking ice holes and fargan bastiches. So anyway. So we'll get the alternate profanity in there, but I want to change this one. I've doubled its length, and and what I want to do is change its length as well, so it'll phase. So we'll do that. So it's 3.5 bars long. Okay, so we'll get these two playing together. Sort of balance their volume here. There, now they're out of phase. They'll come back. Miss any questions? The launch pads also have the capture button. Good. Yeah. I haven't noticed that on my launch pad, but there are so many launch pads. I may not have a new one, whatever the current one is. So the Move only has 4 tracks. Yes. The Move only has 4 tracks. That was a big brouhaha. People were like, rah! I made a video about it. 4 tracks is enough. You can get more than that by using the drum sampler, one of the internal instruments, to simulate having 16 voices, 16 available multi-timbral to 16 voices this drum sampler is capable of doing. And so that's a way to get around the 4-track limit, but I don't bother. It's fine. It works fine. All right, so we've got this. Let's put a bass line on it. So now we've got two different scenes, right? And we can move between them. We can intersperse the patterns if we wanted to. So I'll move back to the other one. You move back and forth. So you can do like real-time arrangement. It's nice, but when you're working on a piece of music, sitting on the couch with headphones, being able to quickly get in these patterns, especially working in like Berlin School synth music, you know, I never put a drum machine on here. I just save it for later, do drums later in Ableton. I just use it as a 4 instrument tracks, melodic, you know. All right, so I could keep going and keep going and keep adding things, right? But we're 30 minutes in, so I've got two patterns here. So how do you move the things off the move into the push or Ableton, right? I'm not using push in standalone. Right now I'm going to use it with Ableton because it's easier to stream that way, okay? And I generally don't use the push in standalone mode. I do have a standalone push 3, but it's nice for travel. Or if I need to go to like a gig or something, but honestly, I prefer it as a controller. So I hope that doesn't upset people. I hope it doesn't upset Ableton. Sorry guys, but I just like it as a control surface. But let's move this into wherever. So if we go look at our set overview, and we look at this set, right, I push on that set. So this set is already not local. So sets, you can have two kinds of sets. On here, you can have 32 set. A set is a project. And 8 of those can be moved there in the cloud. The cloud. So in Ableton, there's a little tab for loading your projects. And one of the subsections of the tab is cloud. And so this little thing that I've been building is already like up in the cloud. It's like, you know, oh, why is my brain not working? All of the cloud-based drives that you get with your operating system for anything. This is that. This thing has already poofed it up across my Wi-Fi into the cloud. So that's fine. So what I can do is I can just unplug the thing. I can turn it off, right, and move it out of the way. Move my, I'll move my move. I am short on space here. There we go. Fine. Moves out of the way. And below this, we've got a push with a dust cover on it. That was a Christmas gift. She let me open it early. Just for today's stream, in fact. All right. All right, so that's working. All right, so here we have the push, which is already up and connected to Ableton. Plucktastic. Thank you, Trusto. Oh my God. All the things that rhyme with pluck. You guys can go to town on that. All right, so here is a set in Ableton. Let me change the screen. So you guys let me know. Do you want to see hands or do you want to see, you can see project if you prefer. I'm going to leave it on project for a minute because I want to load the push. I want to load the stuff from the move into Ableton. So here's a project in Ableton, and I've got a bunch of instruments in here. All right, got a bunch of stuff in here. Interesting. What are you doing? You're not on auto. That's why. There we go. So I've got all my instruments. these are all from hardware, various synths over there. Okay. The pluck jokes. All right. I want to move the move into here. Okay. So I want to say, okay, well, that was fun. I made that. I'm happy with it. And so in the Ableton browser, you just go over to cloud, and here are all of the sets that you've saved to the cloud. That set was called move set 1. All right. And here it is, the file. If you open it up, here are the individual tracks of that file. And for each track, these are the clips, the actual clips. All right. And the way I can pull these in is, I think this is on the screen. Yeah. All right. We're plucking crazy. I know. Seriously. You can literally just drag these tracks into Ableton. Right. Here's the clips. And you can drop them on hardware, or if you put it up in the header, you can insert them as their own tracks. So the tracks I had on the move are now tracks in Ableton. So like this one here. Let's see. My timing is off a little bit. Oh, you know what? It's trying to swing it. So all of these, I think, are they're attempting to be swang. And that's me messing around earlier. So no swing. Thank you. Right, so it's the same synth. This Utah lead, this is literally the synth that was in the move. It's the same. And like this one here. It's literally exactly the same as it was on the move. So you get the synths and everything, so you can remember, like, what did this sound like on the move? What was I working? And then you've got all this MIDI. You can just drag it over. So let's see. So let's move these plucks. So the Utah lead plucks, we'll go over here and we'll drop them on the op6. So we'll assign these to hardware. And this one here, we'll go stick this on a mod wave, and these pads we'll stick on a wave state, and the bass will stick on my Rick bass. Okay. And I'm going to delete these 4 tracks that I pulled in from the project out. And it's not going to be perfect. Let me play the bass and show you. So like, you still have to tweak stuff a little bit, because my bass instrument is, for example, right, those notes are too low for my bass to deal with. My bass is pitched higher. Right, so we'll do the op6. So it's the same song. But now it's on hardware. It's like brainlessly simple. I'm super happy. So the move was the best money I've spent in a long time as far as creativity. Like, I bought the push for standalone mode thinking I'll use that in the living room with my wife, but it's simply too big and it gets too hot, especially in the summer. Oh, God, it's like putting your lap inside a panini press. But the move works great, and it's easier to do basic arrangement, certainly for like Berlin school on the move. I'm not going to say easier. Like, how to say this? People like hardware because of flow and tactility. They like to turn knobs. They like to get their hands on things. People go like, I don't like to look at a screen. Some people, sure, that's valid. I have no issues with screens, right? But I do like tactility, and I do like control by hand on surface like knobs and sliders and buttons, as opposed to mousing around. Given the choice, I would rather do it. But for some things within Ableton, using, control surfaces, you just can't. Like the metaphor in Ableton is you need a mouse, right? Their translation of that into the Move, their limitation of pulling a bunch of things out and just leaving just essentials, works. So for getting things down, it's 4 tracks of 16 bars, each bar having 16 steps, assign synths, place notes. There's a limited set of editing tools for changing velocities, changing volumes, changing pitches, transposing up and down octaves, sliding patterns around. Like if you record an 8-bar pattern and you decide you only want the last 4 bars, it's 2 clicks. You click bar 5 through bar 8, done. That's what it starts playing, and it loops that forever. It's like chaining patterns in other things. Like if you know Novation's step sequencers, like in the Launchpad Pro Mark III, or if you know like, I think the circuit family sequencing is similar. You press 2 locations in the pattern buffer and it says, oh, you want me to run all of them from here to here and keep doing that? It's the same basic metaphor, but it's cleaner in the Move than it is on the Novation, in my opinion. So I'm super happy about it. So literally, we're here, right? And then I want to play this other pattern. I just launched the scene. Isn't taking effect. Anyway, not going to worry about that right now. Questions. Any chance of you purchasing the steam pipe? I already own the steam pipe. Trusto, I have the steam pipe. I just don't have the hardware version of steam pipe. So steam pipe, the synth that the hardware is based on, is a Reactor ensemble. It's a synthesizer in Native Instruments Reactor. It's been around for like 15 years. It's not new. And there's Steam Pipe and Steam Pipe 2, actually. And the Steam Pipe hardware synth, I think, is based on that. And I could be wrong, but I've listened to it, and it sure sounds like it is. And other people, friends of mine, have confirmed that in casual conversation that, yeah, it's based on the Reactor Steam Pipe. I don't, So if it turns out that that's not true, whatever. I've got the Reactor Steam Pipe and Steam Pipe 2, and they sound just like it. And so, yeah, I'm good. I don't need the hardware. So... let's see. Any questions I missed? I'm scanning up real quick to check for tags. If you asked a question and I didn't answer it, just ask it again and put a Q in front of it, then I'll see it. So the Move is nice. The integration with Ableton is amazingly seamless. It's great. And I'm not going to demo for you, but the synchronization between the Move and the Push and or Ableton is through Ableton Link. And it's, in my experience, close to flawless, right? It's not there. I have experienced some glitches in the 5 years I've been using it, and I use it a lot. I have a couple times had something fall out of sync, but it only falls out of sync for part of a bar, and then on the downbeat it resynchronizes, so it's not really an issue. But on the Move, you just say use link, and in Ableton you click a button that says link, and they see each other, and when I hit play on either one, they just, no problems, absolutely in sync instantly. Let's see. Does the Push 3 make cracking and popping noises like the Push 2? It does not. At least mine doesn't. So Push 2, I had at my peak, I owned 3 Push 2s simultaneously because I had one in the studio. I had one in a Pelican case specifically for playing out. This was pre-COVID. I used to play out a lot. And I would basically take a Pelican case with a push 2 in it and my laptop and an audio interface. And I would just go there, plug in like 4 cables, feed the mains to the house or whatever's going on, and just perform on the push. It was the slickest, like on the go. I love it. And if I ever started playing out again, that's what I would do. Because hauling hardware is a pain in the butt. But at its peak, I had 3 push 2s. I had one in the studio, one for travel, and I had one that was a loaner that I would loan to friends. But then one of those, my friend, their house was flooded and they lost most of their gear. So I let him keep the push 2 because he had basically a computer and no instruments anymore. So I was like, here you go, bud. And then I sold the other push 2s when I bought the push 3. So, but yeah, the cracking thing is a real thing. Although it doesn't happen unless you're moving it. Like if it's sitting on the table and you're playing it, it doesn't make those cracking noises. So it's not like it's a studio problem. It's not like a mic picks it up. But the 3 doesn't seem to do that. Trusto, the steam pipe hardware is new. It's very new, right? It's just that the instrument that I suspect it's based on has been around for a while, and it has always been awesome. So that doesn't mean don't, I'm not saying don't go get the hardware. It looks cool, right? But if you have Native Instruments Reactor, like if you have Complete or any of the Native Instruments bundles, it's included in Reactor. You don't have to buy it. It's just part of the Reactor library. So if you have that already, you could save some money. You don't need the hardware. Soup says, are all the functions online? That is, can be done with the sequencer running. Does it do seamless patch change? The Move, Soup? Yeah, it does. You can, while it's playing, you can change patches, and it doesn't, depends on what happens, because the patch contains 2 insert effects as well. So if the parameters change, if it's the same, let's say you've got the reverb in there and it's got a really long 10-second tail, and you load a new preset that also has the reverb on it, but it's only got a 250 millisecond tail, you will hear a jarring thing. Like the tails will get cut because basically that parameter gets retuned. If it swaps out a different effect, let's say you've got a bit crusher in there on one preset and another preset swaps the bit crusher for a chorus, it's going to do that jarringly as well. But like tails, if it changes the delay time, you're going to get the weird repitching delay thing. So like if the delay time goes from quarter notes, to half notes, you're going to hear the delay echoes go, right? So the Move is not intended to be a amazing performance tool, right? It can be, and a lot of people are trying to shoehorn it in there, but it's really a sketch pad. So, and as your push does when it warms up or cools down, interesting. Like bringing it in from outside maybe, or like when the heat comes on in the house, it starts cracking. That's weird. I'm sorry if that's the case. iPad Pro M4 in the Keystep 37. That's Uncle Chrome's rig. That's a great rig. Power banks for all the juice. You should talk to Taskboy, Uncle Chrome, Taskboy 3000, because everything he does is power bank based. So, any other questions? All right, cool. So that's what I wanted to demonstrate. You know what? As long as we're here, let's demonstrate the, I'll turn it back on and let's demonstrate the sync stuff really quick. Let's change the camera shot to this, not this one, this one. Oh, it's going to be upside down again. Hang on. Let me swap her around. And let's change our clipping so that we can see the Move sitting next to it. There we go. All right, let's load a thing. We'll load this one there. All right, so you can't see this, but I'm going to Ableton and I'm turning on link, which is one button. Click. And now it says link partner detected. So Ableton can see the move and they're synchronizing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is leave the bass playing. And I'm going to go to this set and I'm going to hit this one. Oh, so the move was 90 BPM because it detected the BPM when I started recording, but Ableton was at 100 BPM. And the way Link works is whoever starts the transport controls the metronome, and then if anyone makes changes, the last one in wins. But let me... Okay, so now Ableton's playing the bass. And the move, I'm going to start everything except the bass. Let me see that? Yeah, you can see it over here on the... Let me do this. Move down. Ah. All right. So you can see the patterns playing over here. And so if I bring them out, I'm going to turn off the transport. And everything stops. And if I start it again, everything just stays in sync, right? All right, and then over here on the push, I can play something else. Let's bring us up an octave. Really lose myself in this kind of stuff. This is when inevitably I'm like, I'm just gonna play for a minute, and then my wife's like, dinner's ready, I'll be right there, and then I come out and like, dinner's done, cold. Drop that an octave. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Audrey says, could we please have a bit of BM? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Audrey. Because BM culturally for me means taking to the toilet. BM stands for bowel movement. So let me see. Let me scan through here. Later, Lamar. You guys got to go get ready for your stream. I understand. See you, Uncle Chrome. Simon. Hey there. Simon Creepatch snuck in. Or was in and I missed him. That's okay. Berlin music. Well, I mean, this is Berlin inspired. You know. So, all right. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's change the bass line. It's trying to swing it. I don't know, Audrey. That's the best I could do for now. What I do is a mix of Berlin School and Prague and film music. So it's kind of hard for me to do pure Berlin School. I really have to set up for it. Yeah, loop music. That's the only kind of music I really know how to play. Anyway, so that's that. Hey, Scruffy Fox. Hope that was good enough, Audrey. Best I could do on the short term. Yeah, Berlin School isn't really a thing. Berlin School is a series of techniques that are used, and the music you get out of it has a particular flavor. But you can take those techniques and apply them in other places and get a different flavor. And that's what I do. So I don't try and sound like, say, Tangerine Dream or Schulze, but I like their techniques, so I use them. Now, some people who visit the channel have taken these techniques and they're making music and it sounds exactly like Tangerine Dream, because that's what they're shooting for, right? And that's fine. Also, Tangerine Dream and a lot of those bands, they changed over the years, right? Just like you know, just like any band that lasts for 20 or 30 years, they have eras and they go through their different eras and see where it goes. There was a couple things I wanted to share. Oh, Radio Gnome. I don't know if he's here or if he was here earlier. Radio Gnome left a comment that said from last week's stream or the last stream I did, I had said, hey, what does this piece of music from? It's a 90s band. Let's see if I can get a copyright strike or a demonetization. And nobody got it in the things, but then he left a comment. He was like, isn't that Dave Matthews Band? And it is. That was a Dave Matthews Band thing. So apparently you can play Dave Matthews Band chord progressions and not get struck. So thanks for the hour. No problem, Audrey. Let's see. Nice lecture. I hope that was useful. Gotta go. I understand. You guys got other places to be, other streams to watch. It's all good. They were actually called Krautrock. I'm not going to argue that, Davey. I use them interchangeably. But I think Krautrock, I think I said this like months or years ago. The techniques for Berlin School apply to things that aren't synthesizers, right? So a lot of early Krautrock or some bands doing Krautrock or doing Berlin School were doing it with guitar and bass and drums, right? And a lot of delay and reverb too, right? So yeah, I don't disagree with you, Davey. Will, I hope that was useful. All right, cool. And I think that's probably it. I don't like the term Krautrock. Well, use a different term then, Andy. It's all good. Next week is the last week of 2024. That is correct. So, and in JAMuary, I'm going to actually do the move in JAMuary. I'm going to do ideas on the move and then flip them over into Ableton and expand on them with hardware synths. That's the idea. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, I'm going to shut her down. You guys play nice. I got to go. I'm probably not going to be watching anybody's streams tonight because it's the great cookie delivery. So my wife's been baking for 2 days and we have boxes and boxes of cookies to give our neighbors and friends. And so while the sun is still up, we're going to go out right after this and deliver cookies to the neighborhood. And so, the celebration of diabetes. So anyway, that's that. Have fun. And I will talk to you all later. All right. See ya.